How to make a killing. I'll tell you how to make a killing. What you do is you run for president. Simultaneously, you and your wife start a crypto scam. Once elected president, fair and square, we don't know. You and your wife and the crypto scam makes a ton of money. Underneath that, all your children are doing nefarious things in the finance world, in the geopolitical world. And what happens in the first 13 or 14 months of your second term as president, you net over $1 billion and no one cares. Wow, that's how you make a killing. Anyway, Glenn Powell, all that stuff is true, by the way. Glenn Powell stars as Beckett, a death row inmate retelling the story of his money-motivated murder spree. He's the estranged member of a wealthy family, and he'll stop at nothing to secure the fortune that would unlock his otherwise average life. Average life is a stretch. Like, he's doing all right. He's working at a store, and he's, a tailor suits guy, tailors suits. What is he? What is that? What is that word? I don't know. Meanwhile, a budding romance, an old flame, and a newfound respect for his uncle complicate this little plan he has. How to Make a Killing is a solid comedy slash dark comedy slash thriller about the corrupting natures of cash and distinguished careers. While on the surface, the movie is an absurd sequence of events, it does offer poignant commentary and a cautionary tale. Glenn Powell is solid as expected, and Marla Qualley is what she always is. I mean, if you like her, you like her. I personally think she's a cool actress. I don't think she has the most range. She does the lip thing. I think it's cute. I liked her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. From there on, she's been everything that character was. I think that's okay with me. The supporting cast also does a great job portraying their respective archetypes. Everyone here is kind of just like a characterization of something you're familiar with in other movies. But Topher Grace is a scene stealer. I mean, Topher Grace comes in for maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and man, he's chewing the scene, man. He was fantastic. He plays this more modern pastor, religious figure, where he's obviously a scam artist, and he's like funneling money in different places, all these fake businesses. But he has this congregation, and they're rocking with him. So this movie is actually pretty fun. It's not as straightforward as it sounds. I mean, the fact that they give you all the information about, the situation that Glenn Powell's character finds himself in, and he narrates the story. So he tells you what he's done. He tells you where he went wrong, and he tells you early on that this is a tragedy. Like, this is not a good story. There's not a heartwarming ending. So they give you all this information, but they do surprise you along the way. There's some slithers in the story, and I do like that. So I think it's a 7.5 out of 10. Honestly, I do recommend it. Like, I'm not saying you got to rush to the theater, but if this is on whatever streaming service in 2 months, 3 months, yeah, it's good. It is good. There's some character actors here. Like, I feel like I recognize Zach Woods. Yeah, Zach Woods is here. You don't know who Zach Woods is because I didn't either. I just see his name pop up on Wikipedia. Ed Harris is here. I do recognize Ed Harris. Ed Harris is the older white guy, leathery face, very stern, good at being a commanding figure. And I can't think of anything I've seen him in, but I know his face. So shout out to you, Ed Harris. And then I don't know who she is, but she's beautiful. Jessica Henwick is here. She plays Glenn Powell's love interest, like the more wholesome love interest that is in the movie. Margaret Qualley plays another love interest. And Jessica is great in this. Like, she seems like the perfect everyday woman that any reasonable guy would want to date, though most of us aren't prepared emotionally for her, so she'll pass us on by for some other guy. She might even be with a douche, which in this movie, for part of it, she kind of is. Anyway, who's the douche? Is it Glenn Powell or somebody else? You have to see the movie to see. You don't even know. But yeah, the family members that we watch get slaughtered. You get an understanding of who they are. Again, they're all kind of like archetypes of things you've seen before. There's an artsy one that doesn't really value art or intellectualism. He just likes the scene of it all. Like, he's in proximity of creative, cool people. He develops film. He's like kind of a poser a little bit. I can relate. And, he's here. There's another cousin that's like super douchey. Like, dude is on a yacht. Not a yacht, but he's on like a little fancy pontoon. And I wouldn't know pontoon if I didn't have an internship at Yamaha way back when. So shout out to Yamaha. Shout out to Japan for whatever reason. Anyway, so they have, their archetypes that they're following. And then it gets complicated because, like I said, our character here, like, as he's committing these crimes, murders, to be blunt, he gets closer to the family. Not necessarily in relationship, though that does perhaps happen at certain corners of the story. It's more that he's in proximity of them more often, and you get to kind of peek into their world a little bit, which I do like. You get to see that, like, though all of them are, like, douchey and scummy, there are varying degrees of that. And as an audience, you're kind of thinking, like, they don't all deserve to die, bro. Like, and how quickly he adapts to killing and becomes adept at it. I don't love that, because it's like, it makes it seem like his murder spree was always in him. He seems like a psychopath. Like, to kill, you probably have to be a psychopath unless it's self-defense. Even then, you'll probably care about it if you're a normal functioning adult. This dude, not so much. And yeah, I just don't love that he doesn't feel like he was pushed to this point. He feels like he was always going to murder. It just happened to be that there's an inheritance at the end of this rainbow, you know? But good movie. A couple of needle drops here. I didn't recognize all the songs played, but there was, and this is like a classic underground legendary hip hop group. Jurassic 5 was this older group from like the early 2000s, I want to say, like very like funky NPC chopped up kind of beats. And one of their songs, I think Golden was the song that was playing. I do recognize it, but like they have amazing music, very political. What did dude say? He's like, he's like, some of y'all be screaming free Mumia Jamal, but 2 out of 3 y'all will be at the mall. Like, talking about how people, kind of pose as activists, but at the end of the day, you're just like living your life, don't even care about the people you claim to care about. I'm guilty of that to a degree too. So anyway, I'll leave you with this 7.5 out of 10. Definitely think it's a fun time at the movies, but maybe even a better time at home as you just, chill on the couch and watch this. Thank you. Have a good day. Everything I said about Donald Trump at the beginning was true, so look into that.